This video will show you how to solve more advanced equations with fractions. For this first equation, we have w divided by 4 plus 7 divided by 12 is equal to w divided by 3. So not only do we have a fraction, we also have variables on both sides. Now whenever we work with fractions, we're going to use our fraction rules in order to make common denominators because we are adding. So we have w divided by 4 plus 7 divided by 12 is equal to w divided by 3. If I look at the three numbers 4, 12, and 3, I know that my least common denominator would be 12 because all of those numbers multiply into 12. Since 12 is already 12, 7, we do 12 times 1 is 12, 7 times 1 still says 7. So now I have to multiply these equations. So in order to make 4 into 12, I need to multiply by 3. So I'm going to multiply both my numerator and denominator by 3. In order to make 3 into 12, I need to multiply by 4. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 4. So I've changed the denominators, but because I've multiplied both the numerator and denominator by the same factor, I've not actually changed the number. I've just changed how it looked. So now I have 3w plus 12, 3w over 12 plus 7 twelfths is equal to 4w over 12. So now when I subtract, I'm actually going to move the 3w over 12, and the reason is I want the variables on one side. So this is a positive 3w twelfths, so I'm going to subtract 3w over 12. Okay, so that goes away on the left, and I'm left with 7 twelfths. And then I want to subtract 3w over 12 on the right. Now what's nice is I already made the denominators the same. So my denominator is 12, and then I'm going to subtract my numerators. 3w minus 4w minus 3w leaves me with 1w left. Okay, we're almost done. So right now w is being divided by 12. So to get rid of division, we need to do the inverse operation, which is multiply by 12. Now with fractions, you can write 12 as 12 over 1. Okay, so that gives me 1w. And then look what happens over here. 12 divided by 12 is 1. And I'm left with 7 over 1. Now 7 divided by 1 is just 7, so my answer is w equals 7. And lastly, this one, a little bit more involved, so we're going to actually combine everything on the right side and then solve. So we have 13 is equal to 6v minus 7 divided by 2 plus v plus 1 divided by 4. Now when I look at these denominators, I can tell that my least common denominator would be 4, so I'm going to change this first fraction. So in order to make a 2 into a 4, I need to multiply by 2. Now on the bottom, that's pretty straightforward, but on the top, I want to add brackets to remind myself that that 2 needs to actually multiply to everything. So now I have on my numerator 12v minus 14 all divided by 4, and then I have v plus 1 all divided by 4. Now we're adding these two fractions and they have the same denominator, so I can go ahead and write it over one denominator, 12v minus 14 plus v plus 1 all divided by 4. That's not the nicest way to write it. The reason is we have like terms. So we have 12v and 1v, and we also have two constants, negative 14 and positive 1. So now I can finally write my simplified right side. Combining 12v and 1v, that gives me 11v. Combining negative 14 and positive 1, that gives me negative 13, all divided by 4, and then that equals positive 13. So here's my new equation I'm going to solve. Now on the right, we're dividing everything by 4, so I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 4. And that finally gets rid of the fraction, which is nice. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 13, and that gives me 52. And then since I multiplied by 4, that fraction goes away, so now I have 11v minus 13. Now we're to an equation that we're a little bit more familiar with. It's a little bit easier to see that we're close to the end. The inverse of subtracting by 13 is adding 13. So I'm going to add 13 to both sides. That gives me, oh, I just realized a mistake. So 12v, and this is a positive 1v. So all along this should actually say 13. I apologize. So now I have 65 is equal to 13v. And to undo the multiplication, I'm going to divide both sides by 13. And that is 5 is equal to v. Now that type of question is obviously very complex. There's a lot of steps along the way, so this is something you want to take your time writing everything out. Check your work. I noticed at the very end when I combined my like terms, positive 12 and positive 1 should have been 13. So there's lots of little places that errors can occur. So take your time on this type of question, and if anything comes up and you want to see another type worked out, just let me know.